Welcome to Machzor before Rosh Hashana part 12. Yesterday we talked about the unique structure of the Musaf Amidah on Rosh Hashana. 9 blessings, the first 3 standard, the last 3 standard, and the special 3 blessings in the middle. The 3 blessings known as Malchios, Zichronos, and Shofros. Kingship, remembrance, and the Shofar. If you want to get a bit of a picture, in the art scroll Machzor, the first one of the 3 begins on page 454. In this version of the Nusach Hari English Machzor begins on page 133. Now, in addition to the whole Amidah having a unique structure, these blessings themselves have a very unique idea and structure to them. In that, normally, we've got 2 special ways we communicate with God. 2 ways we have a conversation with God. One is the study of Torah, the other one is prayer. In a nutshell, the difference between prayer and Torah study is that Torah study is God communicating with us. Tefillah, prayer, is when we communicate with God and we ask Him, we plead with Him, we praise Him, we thank Him, and so on. Something very unique in the Musaf Amidah of Rosh Hashana is that these 2 concepts come together. In these 3 special blessings of kingship, remembrance, and shofar, we don't only pray, but we quote, in each one, we quote 10 verses from the Torah. 10 verses to, so to speak, back ourselves up. And many commentaries on why we do this. The 10 verses correspond to the 10 sayings with which God created the world, and so on and so forth. The reason that we quote psukim from Torah is because on Rosh Hashana we are so determined to accomplish these new blessings for the new year that we, so to speak, according to some commentaries, bring a proof from the Torah that, so to speak, God is Himself bound by these requests that we are asking Him to grant us on Rosh Hashana. Now, the way these 10 verses work on each one is the first 3 we quote from the Torah itself. The next 3 we quote from Kesuvim, which are the writings. Because the Torah goes Torah Nevi'im Ketuvim. So first 3 from the Torah, we skip second 3 from the Kesuvim, from the writings, and then the last 3 from the Nevi'im, from the prophets, and then we conclude with a pasuk, with a verse from the Torah once again. So to give you an example, in the blessing of Malchios, of kingship, we cite 10 psukim, 10 verses that mention the fact that God is the king. The interesting thing, however, is that the last verse, the very last verse that we mention in Malchios, which on art scrolls page 456, in the Nusach Hari is page 134, the last one we mentioned actually doesn't say the word king. It says Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. We proclaim God as the one God, the one and only God. Why is this a verse of kingship? One of the commentaries tell us that the reason is because when we commit to God to be our king, the real commitment is to make Him the one God, meaning the one true reality of our life. That everything in our life is not just that He's our king once in a while, or when we do His laws or perform His mitzvahs, but He becomes our king, which means He becomes the oneness in our life. He becomes the one reality through which our whole life revolves around. When we finish the 10 psukim, the 10 verses in each of these 3 brachas, we then end off with a prayer asking God to do what these psukim tell us. For example, in Malchios, in the first one, we ask Him to become the king, to rule over the whole world, and we end off by saying, Baruch Atah Hashem, Melech, we bless God as the king of the world, He who sanctifies the Jews and the day of remembrance, which is Rosh Hashana. Have a good day.